Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. I'm trying to make this a weekly or bi-weekly thing where I bring on a guest to talk about the Yankees, do some off-season talk. These are going to be typically longer episodes because there's a lot to talk about. There always is kind of a lot to talk about the Yankees. And it's a great way for me to get another person on the podcast, or not the podcast, the channel, in kind of a podcast format. But with that being said, let me introduce my guest. So, Cameron, why don't you take it away?
Yo, what's up? I'm Cameron Woolley. I'm a podcast host. For the last few years, I've been hosting the Cameron Woolley Show. It's on YouTube. Started on SoundCloud way back in 2019, and I was like 14 years old. I've been doing the pod for years. I've covered a lot of stuff. I mean, the Yankees, it's been a wild ride ever since I've started recording, and it's been great. And you can find me on YouTube. I also have a website, camwoolleyshow.com, where you can look at my blog. And yeah, that's pretty much my rundown of my content repertoire. And thank you for having me on the program, Ryan. We've kind of started talking with each other on Discord over the last few weeks because we kind of have a mutual friend who owns a server, and you happen to be in that server, and you just kind of joined one night. We hit it off, and I actually got on the show through a public Twitter reply thing. It was when you announced that Hoodie Maven was on the show, and I'm like, yo, Cameron Woolley Show on Fireside Yankees win. You're like, bet. I'm like, bet. So
yeah, I'm so glad. Like, we were supposed to have practice today, and we did it today, so this was like perfect. Like, I was like, because I have something tomorrow for like this. We have to broadcast or live stream this wrestling match. I've never seen high school wrestling, so that'll be fun. But I'm so glad I got to do this, man. This is gonna be so much fun.
Oh, dude, I always love going on other shows and podcasts. No, I've always been passionate about baseball, world of sports in general. I've been on multiple programs. It is like I always have a great time doing it. So anytime that I am offered the opportunity to talk about baseball or talk ball in general, I just follow that trail, and that's what led me here.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot to talk about. So I think we should start off with the Yankees kind of being quiet. And I feel like I've been very like volatile on this. Like, I think right before the Stallings tweet, I tweeted the offseason, it's not a race, things will happen, and then I immediately fired off about like 17 tweets in different ways calling Brian Cashman bald for not getting Jacob Stallings.
Yes.
But despite our inactivity, I mean, who would you say right now is the best free agent that you thought we had a shot at coming into this offseason, or the best trade target that we thought we had a shot at coming into this offseason that has gone off the board, and the one that you're most frustrated with? If you are frustrated with any of them.
Oh my God. Oh, where do I start? The one that I am most frustrated with, obviously, is Corey Seager. I've sounded the horn on him multiple times. Obviously, I don't like him as much as Correa, but Seeger offensively puts up numbers that are way above the mark for a shortstop. Like, he puts up numbers that would be really good for a right fielder, and he's doing this as a shortstop. And I know the defense and the injuries are a question, but he's athletic, he's left-handed. I feel like that bat would have played very well in Yankee Stadium, because, you know, the whole thing with lefties in Yankee Stadium, and my God, all the 90s teams, they had lefties. But like Seeger, I feel like he really got away, and especially considering the early smoke that was happening about the Yankees signing a shortstop, and like the market is getting thinner. That's all I can really say. The market is getting thinner if you want a premium guy who, you know, can produce and be there for the long term. Like, the only two guys that are left there are Carlos Correa and Trevor Story. And granted, Correa and Story, they're great. Like, Carlos Correa, if you ask me, he's the best shortstop in the league, not named Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, he's still out there, but the question is, like, how much are the Yankees willing to spend? And this is a question that is asked way too much, if I am being completely honest. Like, when I saw the Buster Olney thing that's been going around about them saying, oh, Trevor Story and Carlos Correa are out of their price range, I'm single. Like, okay, Correa, maybe I can get because Seeger just got $325 million and
Right.
Correa's, and knowing how free agent markets work, knowing how Cole's free agency went, not a lot of people thought that Cole was going to get $320 million, but then when Strasburg signed his contract, that kind of marked up the price for Cole by a lot. And I think the same thing's happening with Correa. I think he's going to get upwards. I think he's at least getting $350 million.
Yeah, I would say 350 is a good mark. I think 350 over 11. I think some team's going to say, like, I don't know if you remember with the Harper deal, he's only getting 25 million a year, but he has such a large number because that's really what the agents care about. They want the big number. I don't think the AAV matters as much to these guys, but definitely 350.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes over 10 years or 12 years or whenever that, or whatever the term is. Just, I think he's getting 350, and I think if his agent plays everything right, I think he could get 380 and maybe even push 390. And if Scott Boras was his agent, I'd throw around 400, but I don't think Scott Boras is Carlos Correa's agent.
Well, I will say this: I don't think it gets past 350 just because I don't think I don't think major league teams are going to bid against themselves. Like, I don't think anyone's really going to throw out. Like he said, I think the report from Jack Ramsey was that, he wants 10 years, 350. And if no one's given him that, that would tell me that that's, that teams are trying to talk him down from that price. And so they'll either talk him down from it or they'll meet him there. I don't think they'll really go over what they're asking. But the thing I will agree with you here is that, and this is what, and I think this kind of gets overstated. Well, the Yankees also had an offer for Marcus Semien. It's very clear that the Yankees wanted to have an option outside of Correa in case they couldn't get Correa, and that's basically gone. Outside of Story, they don't have a choice. It's either you pay Correa or you pay Story. And now that you don't have a choice, it kind of makes it a little more nervous because there's still teams out there who want a shortstop. And especially when the Dodgers don't get Seeger, like my what I was hoping for is that Seeger went back to the Dodgers. Because as great as that team is and as much more of a threat as that makes them, it takes them out of the bidding for Correa. And they're always a scary team for free agency. Like, there's always the possibility they decide they're not having it and they're just going to have Correa. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, the Dodgers, they're always lurking. And even though they don't always spend big money, like you could look at last year's free agency as an example, just coming off a World Series victory. They have the reigning Cy Young Award winner on the open market. His market was moving slowly, and there was all this stuff going on with the Mets. The price was going up, and the Dodgers saw that as an opportunity to go get Trevor Bauer. And granted, Bauer, his tenure as a Dodger, I don't think it could have gone worse. But that was before all that. That's hindsight being 2020.
Right.
And I think the Dodgers could definitely be in the market for Correa now because I think the Dodgers front office is too smart. I think they are too motivated to win, to go into next season with Gavin Lux as their starting second baseman. And Trey Turner, great shortstop. Like, I love Trey Turner. I'd love him on the Yankees, but I doubt that the Dodgers are going to accept going into next year with Gavin Lux starting in their infield because I don't know if you saw it, but Max Muncy is dealing with an injury, a bad injury, torn UCL, I think.
Right.
And I think that pushes their hand a lot. And I think that could lead to them getting Correa. I think that could lead to them getting Freddie Freeman. That's a name I've seen pop up a lot more as of recently. That could drop at any time now. Like, hell, I gotta have Twitter open while recording this.
Yeah, we do. And you know what's also scary? I heard that they might be interested in Montas. They might be interested in Olsen, quite frankly. And that's, this is what I didn't want. I didn't want the market. Like, the market moved a lot quicker than the Yankees anticipated. And they're kind of in a situation where guys that you felt like would fall into their laps or would be waiting for them post-lockout, the the A's aren't going to they do not have a requirement to trade Olsen to the Yankees. They do not have an agreement in place. They have no reason to, quite frankly. There's no one telling them they have to. You know what I mean?
1 yard line.
Yeah.
It's on the 1 yard line, Ryan.
This is one of those things. This is one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be paranoid and I don't want to sound like, I'm freaking out because it is just November. Like, you can't judge an offseason in November. But, the more time that passes by since that situation, the less optimistic I am that Olsen there's no other suitors for him. I felt like that was very obvious early on. I feel like that becomes less obvious as a market dwindles down, because as teams lose their top targets, they kind of have to pivot and they have to go get someone else. Look at the Dodgers. I mean, weren't going to get Machado until Seeger got Tommy John surgery. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this is another situation, because that would require someone getting Tommy John surgery, and we don't know if Muncy's going to get that. But things happen, and teams that lose their intended target or lose someone they projected to have on their roster will do whatever it takes to pivot and go get creative. And I feel like that's something the Yankees have kind of struggled to do in recent years. I think I said this in a space where it was like, it feels like the Yankees get caught up in one negotiation and they can't do anything else outside of that. Last year was LeMahieu, Garrett Cole. When we signed him, we didn't really do much after him. I feel like right after 2018, that was the real offseason where I think we did the most good for the team, even though it wasn't the flashy offseason we were hoping for, because we went and we spent in a bunch of different places. We got Paxton early. We picked up LeMahieu, and he was better than we thought we would be. That was just a smart pickup.
We just thought that LeMahieu would be a utility man.
You're right, but that was, that was a necessary move, but it made your team it raises the floor of your team. And the Yankees' floor, it's lower than I like it to be. I think the ceiling is there. Like, I think this is a team that can win the World Series, because no way you can look at this team and say, oh, they can't win it after what the Braves just did with Eddie Rosario and Jorge, better than Aaron Judge, apparently. Soler.
I saw that. I saw that thread. That was the fun. Oh my God, it's so stupid. I mean, like, I get that the guy was trying to play, oh, this guy's a winner narrative, but here's the thing: like, individual players, you can't, like, if the Yankees don't win a World Series with Aaron Judge on the roster, and unfortunately that is looking like a strong possibility at this point, but it's not on him, it's on the organization. That's the same thing. Like, if I'm gonna bring up hockey, like, if the Edmonton Oilers don't win a Stanley Cup in the next 10 years, it doesn't fall on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Right.
Like, with like in the NBA, like the Cavs, they didn't win a championship the first time LeBron was there. It's not on LeBron. It was on everything else around him.
But I would even say with Judge, like, at least you can say with LeBron, oh, we had some stinkers in the playoffs, and in the NBA, you as an individual are much more impactful than in Major League Baseball. Has Judge ever missed a postseason game? Has Judge ever really, you've seen him in outside of last year in the ALDS? I've never really felt disappointed in Aaron Judge in a playoff series since his rookie year. I know in his rookie year he had some growing pains, but we won the ALDS, and then the ALCS he was really, really, really good.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like the dude shows up in the playoffs. He shows up when you need him. He shows up in big moments in the regular season. He's the guy, And I know we kind of got off the point, but and this is a good discussion to have with Judge. I mean, the guy's great. And I don't want the Yankees. I hope and I pray that in 10 years, 15 years from now, if this team doesn't win a World Series with him on the roster, people don't look back on it and blame it on Judge or say Judge wasn't enough. I know Judge is enough. I just think the team around him, the floor needs to be raised. Like, this needs to be a team that you consistent. Like, if you played this season over 100 times, they're winning the division at least 70 times out of that 100, because they can do it. Like this, they have the resources to do it. They have the team in place. They just need to make the right moves to kind of push the right buttons and push this team in the right direction. And it feels like the last 2 years, it's kind of felt like that same like high ceiling, but they kind of hit more towards their floor. And it's like
last season, we saw a lot of that floor. Like
right.
Last year's Yankees, I think. Actually, no, I don't think. I know it is the most frustrated I've ever been watching a sports team, because, like, I'm a big Giants fan. Yeah, the 2017 Giants, they were bad and they were disappointing. They were a disaster. Like, they were a circus.
Right.
And every week something else bad would be happening, and, like, the Eli benching and all that. That still doesn't compare to the frustration I experienced last year as a Yankee fan, going through the motions and the ups and downs, and like it got to the point where Corey Kluber's no-hitter was an afterthought. like Corey Kluber's no-hitter is just like, oh, yeah, that happened. But
it felt like after he got hurt, that's when the season went down. Like everything was going great, riding high, coming into this Toronto series, and then the dude's shoulder just collapses on him in the third inning. It's like, oh no, oh no,
it's like,
this is not fun.
It's like, oh shit, and like, dude, with last year's Yankees, like, and the trade deadline acquisitions, like they got the right players. They got Gallo, who I still think is at this point, he's a left fielder now. He's a top 3 left fielder in baseball. And they got Anthony Rizzo, who, like, granted, he's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We don't know what's going to happen with him. I think if the Yankees fall flat on Matt Olson, which, again, we don't know if that's going to happen. Again, you said the Yankees seem like the only suitor for him, and I tend to agree with that. But with Gallo, they got him at the trade deadline. He's a great player, but he just happened to go through a terrible slump. And then when he got hot, he hurt his neck, and he came back, wasn't quite the same after that.
And Rizzo was it felt like a right idea, just like, right idea player. Like I was fully behind getting him. Like I'm against bringing him back because I want Olsen, but I like bringing him in originally. Like there's no revisionist history of like, oh, it was dumb to bring him in. You look back at it like, I mean, these guys didn't have the impact you wanted them to, but bringing in Rizzo was definitely the right idea. Having to start like Chris Gatins or Rougned Odor down the stretch in August would have hurt us so much, man. It would not have been fun. But, that's kind of the thing where it's like, how many games did we have to play Velasquez and Wade and Odor and like Ryan Lamar, I mean, quite frankly, this team's depth, as strong as it was in 2019, it has not remained the same. Like this is not the same,
The depth is awful.
Yeah. Like that needs to be fixed. Right now, I feel like as much as crap as I've given Sanchez, like I think the catching depth situation is pretty good. Like the Yankees their plan is probably we're going to start Sanchez. He either sucks when we play Higgy, who has a higher floor and will probably be an okay enough catcher to play him throughout the season. Or Sanchez goes on a tear and you figure out your catcher situation like that. I'm fine there. It's the infield that I don't feel great with. Even if we get a shortstop, I mean...
Like catcher situation.
Wait, what happened? Oh, I think I might have lagged out because my internet isn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were saying with the catcher situation?
Like the catcher situation, and people can talk about Sanchez all they want. Last year was where around the second half last year, that was where I kind of really sold a bunch of my... Like he had, and here's the thing with Sanchez. Most of the time, he's an incredibly frustrating, inconsistent, fat toad. He's terrible most of the time. But every year, he has this 3-week stretch, and it always comes in like June.
Or August. And August Gary? Oh, man. That is an animal.
August Gary, we didn't get August Gary this year.
COVID took it from us. It was so upsetting.
Yeah, that's right. He got COVID. We didn't get August Gary from COVID, but he always has stretches in June and August where he is the next Mike Piazza, and we all start buying into him again because we're like, oh my God, this offensive upside at catcher is unprecedented. Like say what you want about Gary Sanchez, but there are not a lot of catchers in Major League Baseball right now who have the ability, granted, whether it be in small stretches, but to win games on his own with his bat.
Right.
That is an intangible asset as a catcher that you can keep with Gary Sanchez. And would I rather have a platoon with Higashioka and a catcher who can hit righties really well? Yes. But if we're going to be running it back with Gary Sanchez, it does not piss me off that much because catcher, quite frankly, is not where a lot of the issues of this team are. Like there's depth at catcher, Kyle Higashioka. He's great defensively and he smashes lefties. Like I think he has a slugging percentage of over 600 against lefties this year.
He killed them last year.
The guy mashes them. And And most of the problems lie in the infield. You can't have a left side of the infield with Gio Urshela and Gleyber Torres, or DJ LeMahieu and, God forbid, Gio Urshela at shortstop.
That was terrible.
Doesn't win. And granted, Urshela wasn't a bad shortstop, at least compared to Gleyber Torres. He looked like Ozzie Smith. But if you go in the next season with DJ LeMahieu at third and Gio Urshela at short, and you say to yourself, we can win the World Series, you're wrong. I'm sorry. You are just completely wrong. You are the definition of insanity if you think that can win a World Series, especially in this AL East division, which has quietly but very swiftly and very quickly gotten incredibly competitive, and it has become downright murder. Like, as of right now, I think the Yankees are the fourth best team in the AL East in terms of upside. Like, in ceiling, the Yankees, actually, no, the Yankees don't have the highest ceiling. I think Toronto has the highest ceiling of any team in the AL East. But as of right now, I'm penciling the Yankees in fourth simply because of the rest of the talent in that division. And if the complacency has gotten this bad, and this is where my main point is coming in, and I'm going to talk about it on this show, and I'm going to talk about it on my show tomorrow. But we came in at the beginning of the month. We got they did pressers with Cashman. They did things with Hal Steinbrenner, and they made it abundantly clear they were going to spend. They were not going to be hampered by the luxury tax. They reset the tax this year so they could spend for the next 2 years. Right. They're saying it's a 3-year cycle or whatnot. And I have not seen any spending. And if they told us straight up, hey, we're not going to spend, we're going to go for a stopgap at shortstop and pray for Volpe to become Alex Rodriguez, then I would have at least respected the honesty. But what I can't deal with is the fact that they lied straight to our faces. And if Carlos Correa doesn't come walking through that door, if Matt Olson doesn't get traded to us, or if Trevor Story isn't signed, again, the report by Buster Olney, there's a price range, and the Yankees have a price range, and Trevor Story isn't in that price range? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they said they were going to spend. Again, if they were honest with us and said that they were going to be cautious and they were going to sign a stopgap, I'd at least respect that. I'd at least temper my expectations around that. But they lied to our faces. That, Hal Steinbrenner is not only cheap in the eyes of us, but he is also a liar. And when fans can't trust their owner, when fans can't trust their front office, and that can leak down to the players, and how do you think the players feel about being thrown under the bus last year? Because, all the pressures that Steinbrenner did, it was, it's the players, it's the roster. The roster has to get better. It falls on the players. And then they don't do anything to improve the roster. How do you think that makes Aaron Judge feel? You think him becoming a free agent next year, you got to wonder if that's going to factor into extension talks. And if the Yankees don't want to spend top dollar for Trevor Story, if Trevor Story's out of their price range, Aaron Judge is definitely out of their price range. And I know I'm panicking a lot by saying Judge is going to reach free agency. I don't know if he is. I highly doubt it. But I feel like there is some factor in the clubhouse that falls on Hal Steinbrenner throwing them under the bus and not giving them any help. That is what would piss me off as a player, being told that it's our fault and then not giving us any help.
I 100% agree with that. With everything you said about if it's the players' fault, well, I expect a damn new roster. I expect some pretty damn good players if they're at fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you put that perfectly. I will say this. I don't buy that only report only because then why would Heyman just tweeted the Yankees are interested in Freeman and Freeman wants 6 years, $180 million. If the Yankees and that he Heyman. Also, yeah, but and then he also said that the Yankees were interested in Simeon and that the Yankees just didn't want to go a 7th year. So I think that the Yankees are throwing out some. I think there is some smoke being thrown out by the Yankees to kind of lure them off the path of like, hey, we're desperate for a shortstop. It's kind of like we know they are. Like we know it. It doesn't really bode well.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Right.
You don't. If they, I think at bare minimum they go into next year with Andrelton Simmons as their starting shortstop.
I think at bare minimum it's Trevor Story. I think that, like, honestly, I really do think
that's
the worst.
I don't think that's the bare minimum.
I would go
if Trevor
as far
Story,
as say that.
If Trevor Story is the worst case scenario, then I feel more secure than I am right now because Trevor Story is like he's really good, and right now Trevor Story is in a buy the dip kind of scenario where his value is dipped lower. He didn't have a great offensive year, and oh my God, you have a bad offensive year. Cores, imagine how bad it's going to be when he's not playing in that lighter era where the ball carries more. Like, and Story is still great defensively. He's athletic. He checks a lot of boxes. And Trevor Story, granted in a very small sample size, has hit very well in Yankee Stadium.
Right. And again, small sample size, but I do like Story's batted ball day in New York too. I think he has a lot of opposite field fly balls that will definitely go out here, even with the Coors effect. When you take that into account, and you know, I think they're going to get a shortstop. I really do. But you are right. I mean, it's not even just getting a shortstop. I expect the roster to be a lot better. You can't blame players and not drastically improve the roster. You know, it doesn't really make sense to me. You know, speaking of the strong AL East, man, Orioles just got a lot better. They picked up our man Rougned Odor.
Wow.
It's a big move, man.
That just happened.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow, man.
Oh man. Oh, Rugi. Say what you want about him. He had some big hits for us.
I can't believe he's going to the Orioles.
Dude, and you know he's gonna kill us.
Oh, for sure. He's pimping one off of Cole.
Oh my God, it's gonna suck. He's gonna be hitting like in the 3-hole. It's gonna be at Yankee Stadium. Cole's gonna strike out the first 2 batters. He's going to get Cedric Mullins on like some nasty changeup. And we're thinking, oh, this is going to be one of those 13 strikeout games. And then Rougned Odor just hits one of the third deck in Yankee Stadium. And he
pimps it too. Does a little helmet thing where he just like tucks the helmet down. Yeah.
That home run that he hit off of Bieber was so badass.
Bro, do you remember the one he hit against Philly where he just tanks one? He ducks the head down? Or the celebrations he would do against Boston? Oh, man. I did like when he was good, but then he was terrible towards the end, so that wasn't as fun. But like there was a point in August where he was like a 108 WRC plus hitter with like 6 outs above average at second base. Those are some good times. Not as good times, but now
those were great numbers. Like for a second baseman, those are fantastic numbers
for free too.
Yeah, for free. And the part that sucks is that they got him for free. That's what kind of concerns me, is that Hal Steinbrenner has become so concerned about money and the bottom line and profit margins and the stuff that shows up on a graph and a chart. Like I don't care about that. And here's the thing: if this happens for like another 2 off seasons, I would not be shocked if fans stop giving as much money to the organization, because that Hal Steinbrenner has no other source of income, right? It's all only baseball. Job is he's not like Steve Cohen where he has a hedge fund to fall back on and short a biotech company or something and make a few $1 billion to spend on free agents. No, the only source of Hal Steinbrenner's income is the New York Yankees. And and the lifeblood of the money comes through fans, that it comes through people buying overpriced tickets and paying for overpriced food and an overpriced stadium. And if fans look at that and see that they're not getting a product in return, then people are going to spend money. It's like I'm going to say this right now. If the Yankees go into next year with Andrelton Simmons as their starting shortstop, I'm not going to a game. I'm not buying a jersey. I'm not buying anything. I am not going to give I'm not going to give money to a sports team that I support and love and root for all the time and not get anything in return.
Yeah, I do not want at all to have to watch Andrelton Simmons be my starting shortstop. It would no, don't want it. I don't even think about it. It hurts. It's just be painful.
Defensively, it would be chills.
But
defensively, Andrelton Simmons is great. But
if you sign him as a
utility man.
Yeah, like a UTL guy, like a cheap one, especially since you may want to give Oswaldo Cabrera maybe a couple of months down in AAA because he only spent 9 games there. Give him some more time to develop in the lab. You know what I mean? Come up a really polished switch hitter and not rushed. I would love that. I think that's a great idea. I know I love Oswaldo Cabrera, and I've talked about him. I think he's going to be a really, really good player. I really do think he's going to be that one of the guys that over the next 5 years is going to be a fan favorite in the infield for the Yankees. But I don't think he's fully ready yet, and I don't think it's smart to ruin the guy and just rush him when you can just go out and get some talent. Hell, if they have Jose Peraza as their UTL guy for next year, I'm cool with it for the first few months, and then bring up Oswaldo Cabrera. Fine, I would like better depth, obviously, but I wouldn't hate it. But I guess the depth is one big thing here where it's I want the floor of this team to be raised. I want this team to be strong. I want this team to go 26 deep on the roster. People said this last year with Tyler Wade. He's just a 26th man. And while Tyler Wade was pretty solid, the argument that a player can be terrible because they're the 26th man, they'll tell that to the Dodgers. They'll tell that to Tampa. You know what I mean? That doesn't really work. Guys, those rosters,
those are assembly lines.
Yeah, those rosters go
you look at Tampa now. Tampa just traded Joey Wendell. I guarantee they are going to biochemically generate another guy who can be productive. Not quite Joey Wendell, but I think they are going to get another guy who can replace him. I've always viewed the Rays as the Hydra of Major League Baseball. You cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place. And that is scary to deal with as a fan of a divisional rival.
Oh, absolutely. They're trading Wendell because they're just going to call up that prospect Taylor Walls and put up 9 defensive runs saved at shortstop in 50 games because he's just that stellar of a defender, and they can just do that.
Isn't there starting shortstop Wander Franco, or are they sticking him at third?
No, they're putting him at shortstop. But Taylor Walls, I know he didn't hit at all. He did not hit at the major league level. But if he, I think they're thinking that he's going to be around a 90 WRC plus guy, which is pretty solid for a UTL guy. And that's actually what he's projected to be. That's a good guess by me. Look at me. But last year,
steamer right here.
Yes, we only use it when we want to. He put up 10 defensive runs saved and only 300 innings out there, which is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
So that means if he were to have put up, let's say 1,000 innings, he's recording 30. He recorded over 30 defensive runs saved at 1,000. He's that good of a defender. He's
small sample size.
Of course, but he also was the best. I think he's graded the best defense. Yeah, he has he has a 60 grade field tool. He's considered the best defensive player in their farm system, and he has a pretty good hit tool too. 50 grade hit tool, not really no power at all to speak of, but he walks a lot, which is cool. For him, not for us, obviously. And he's really fast too, which cool for him, not for us. But they do these things with ease, which is really sucks for us.
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing the Yankees need to be having. That's the type of stuff I want from this team. You know what I mean? I would like this team to be deep. I would like this team I would like to know that when I'm getting an off day from, DJ LeMahieu, I'm having someone who I won't throw up watching their at bats. If Joe were Oh, sorry. I don't know why I just burped there.
Oh, man.
Let me just reset a little bit. If Gio Urshela is kept as the UTL guy, that'd be great, honestly. Because if you're trotting out Urshela, every 4 or 5 days, that's a guy who I'm willing to watch hit. I don't want no offense to Andrew Velasquez, who was cool when he first came up. After the home run he hit against Minnesota, watching him hit hurt. I wanted to cry watching him hit. It hurt my soul. I was physically harmed by his existence at the plate. It was terrible. Like it hurt.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awful.
And oh my God. I remember when he was like released. I remember all the boomers on Twitter. They were all like, "Oh, this kid did nothing. He did everything right, and they cut him. Yet they keep Mr. Strikeout Joey Gallo on the team." It's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about?
And Andrew Velasquez struck out a lot too. He had like a 31%.
Andrew Velasquez struck out. No, he just had the guy hit singles. The guy just hit like 5 singles, and they just fell in love with him.
Do you know what's the funniest thing about Andrew Velasquez? Like everyone talks about how he's kind of like the thing the Yankees are missing in a team. I want to pull up his barrel rate and his strikeout rate because this stuff is actually hilarious. Like for a guy who's like a small, frail, like what is he? I think he's like 5'10". Let me double check. He might be 5'11".
Yeah, compared to everyone else on the Yankees, he's really short. Hold on.
Having
Fangraphs lab is.
Oh, he's 5'9", 170.
Oh
so,
my God.
Yeah. So he's a small guy. Like usually I'm like, oh, maybe I'm underselling their height because, when you have Aaron Judge, when you have Aaron friggin' Judge on your team,
oh my God.
What?
33.8%. What?
What?
Fuck?
Wait, what happened?
33.8% strikeout rate.
Yeah, he struck out a lot.
The MLB level.
I don't know if you can find his barrel rate on StatCast. It's under the stat.
He walked in only 1.5% of his.
It was hysterical. All right.
Oh my God. And they were calling this kid Derek Jeter.
He barreled 13.6% of batted balls. And he hit the ball on average 90.2 miles per hour. For context, he hit the ball harder than Gary Sanchez and had a similar barrel rate to Gary Sanchez. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Why does the small ball sector of the Yankee fan base love this guy so much? I don't know what
67 WRC plus. That's chills. That's the type of guy I want. He's even better than Tyler Wade. Like I do not like Tyler Wade. I was celebrating when he was gone. He was not better than Tyler Wade.
And Tyler Wade, I always said this about Tyler Wade. If Tyler Wade could just be a guy who could put up like a 340 on base percentage and have an average slash line, he would be a great player. I would have loved to have kept him on the team, and he showed a lot of that last year. And I was kind of confused when they cut Wade because even though it was the right decision to cut him, the timing was just really, really odd.
I will say this, getting anything for Tyler Wade randomly becoming an actually valuable baseball player and then turning him into into a player to be named later, which could be like a random reliever, I don't care, cash, whatever. Like, I'm cool with that because I think you can get better there. And that's something where it's like, go out and get better. Go out and get better as much as you can get better, even if it's in small increments, get better. I think Oswaldo Cabrera is already better than Tyler Wade. I think it's addition by subtraction. But you know what? Why don't you go out and get a better UTL guy? Maybe the Yankees can't pick up a Jonathan VR, throw him on the bench, make him the UTL guy. Maybe the Yankees can just move Urshela there. You know what I mean? Where it's like, sure, is the difference between Gio Urshela and Tyler Wade the biggest gap on planet Earth? No, but is it big enough for you to say we're better? Yeah, and those are those half a win in player war. Those add up over 4 or 5 roster spots. That's a couple wins, and that makes you that can be the difference between a division and a wild card, or even missing the playoffs when we're talking about the AL East. Because this is hell. This is actually hell. Even the bad team, the Orioles, have a guy like Adley
being
Rutschman
in this division. Oh my God, dude, when Adley Rutschman comes up.
He's going to come up next year.
God.
I'm not ready.
Oh, dude, it's like the moon from Majora's Mask. Actually, no, that was Wander Franco. Franco was like the moon from Majora's Mask.
Do you remember that at bat against Albert Abreu where he fouls all? He just does a swing and miss, bro.
He hit a little. He doesn't strike out. That is so annoying,
dude. And I hate when people bring this up. Oh, well, did you see his barrel rate? Like, oh, he's not that good. He's going to regress. Look at his xWOBA. Dude, that guy is one of the best hit tools I've ever. Like, that dude he's graded as, I don't even need to give you, my own perception of the guy. Because every prospect measurement, whatever, will tell you that dude has a great hit tool. At the major league level, that's fully translated. The dude can hit it anywhere. You can't shift. You can shift against basically anyone in baseball. LeMahieu in the outfield, you can just move some guys over to right center, and you'll get some of his line drives. You can't shift this guy. This guy doesn't exist. He's not real. He's not a real person. I refuse to believe he's a real person. I hate him so much.
He's so annoying, and he's the one guy that the Rays spent money on.
Yep. And you know what?
He's gonna be there forever. Dude, his agent shouldn't have a job.
I will say this: it's kind of like if you're 20, you know how hard it is to turn down $220 million. That's where it's wrong on the Rays part.
It's weird, and the Rays they exploit market inefficiencies all the time. I get that they're Moneyball on steroids. They are just all they do is just throw out just junk, and it turns into 110 WRC plus, and there aren't even names anymore. They're just, oh yeah, Rays shortstop number 01258, and it's like Squid Game. It's random guys with serial numbers, and they produce, and then they get traded, and that's the next guy comes in, and then rinse and repeat. Wander Franco is not one of those guys, and it sucks because, like, again, you're 20 years old, you can't turn down $200 million. That is like, hell, you take like a third of that money and invest it. That money is going to grow, and that's generational wealth that lasts a super long time. But like, I feel like if he played a few more years and he reached free agency with the level he is going to play at, he easily could have broken $400 million with how the market in baseball tends to inflate. Like, we're going to see a $400 million shortstop at some point.
We're going to see a $400 million player in 3 years. Juan Soto's getting, dude.
Well, Mike Trout already got $400 million.
Right, dude.
Soto's going to get $500 million.
I would, if I were the Yankees, like, I would walk up to Juan Soto. Like, this isn't even a matter of, like, you wait and see what other people are offering, then you offer. No, I'd go up to initial offer starts with a 4. It starts with a 4. Initial offer starts with a 4. He's not accepting anything below a 4. You start with a 4. Like, that's nuts.
I think he's gonna get $500 million.
Oh, I think he can get up there.
Juan Soto gets $500 million, and is he a Boris client?
I think he might be.
Wait, hold up.
Yes, no, he is. He is.
Oh my. Okay. Hold up. Want to confirm?
Bro, after 2019, the Nationals, I think, publicly stated that he wouldn't take $300 million over 10 years.
Shit, he is. He's a Boris client. Wait, what did you say about Soto again?
Oh, that after 2019, so this is before we put up a 200 WRC plus in 2020. So this is after he had like a 149 WRC plus, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but isn't like
won the World Series at 19 years old,
right? But this isn't after like he like nearly won MVP back-to-back years, because 2020, 2021 he had really strong case to win MVP those years. 2019 not so much.
He should have.
I think he should have won it this year.
I think he should have won it last year and this year.
I don't know how much. I would have probably still given it to Freeman or Betts because they just played more. So I'm okay with it. But this year I would have given it to Soto for sure. Sure. But think about it. He wouldn't accept $300 million over 10 years after 2019. He wasn't
even 20 years old,
bro.
Yeah, that's betting on yourself right there. Oh my God.
You offer that dude anything below $420 million. Nice. That dude is not. He's not accepting it. He's gonna laugh at you. Boris is gonna be like, okay, nice offer, buddy. Nice job. Yeah. Nice talking with you, broke boy.
Yeah.
But the Rays, like, I'm not blamed. Like, as much as I say, like, oh, that's bad on the Rays. It's not bad on the Rays in terms of like bad organizational. Like, it's bad for them. It's more of like baseball enables stuff that really isn't great for players. But the Yankees kind of like, okay, this sounds terrible. The Yankees need to get like, hey guys, I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and I'm going to tell you the Yankees need to exploit workers. But the Yankees, I would like to see them try to take some project players as depth pieces, not to be starters on the team. Like Corey Kluber being the number 2, in hindsight, looks pretty shit. It's not looking as good as it looked. Like, I was very caught up in the hype last year. Our 2 and 3 starters pitched in 2 years, which was not fun.
That was.
But if you take a risk on a depth player, a guy coming off a down year or coming off injured year, coming into this year, and you have them slotted as a late reliever or maybe a sixth starter or a guy coming off the bench, how could you hate that? Like that would be a very good move for this franchise.
Yeah, if they went out and I feel like if they took a flyer on someone and they really hit on it, then it would renew a lot of trust in the fan base. It would make a lot of people kind of start to believe again, because I remember after 2019, I think the hype was at its peak after 2019.
Dude, after 2019, man. Oh, man. But I'm sorry, I'll interrupt you, but go ahead.
Like after 2019, that was when the faith in the front office was at its peak, because they went out and they took flyers on so many players. Cameron Maybin put up an OPS over 800 like that. Yeah. That was ridiculous. And he was a bench outfielder.
It felt like we had a lab, the hitting lab, the cheating lab. Mike Tauchman, dude. Mike Tauchman.
I thought Marcus Thames was the best hitting coach in the league after that year, but it was the juiced ball.
Dude, Mike Tauchman was legitimately, like, 2019, dude was on a 7-WAR pace that year. He put up like 10 defensive runs saved, was great, brought a lot of speed, was a really good left-handed hitter. Like, I loved him. I thought he was the next left fielder for the New York Yankees for the next 5 years. Like, I was so sold. Like, he was so good. Do you remember that? Like,
yeah, Mike Tauchman, I loved him. He was great.
And I was like, Mike Ford off the bench? Are you kidding me? A left-handed power bat who's 26.
Mike Ford, I loved Mike Ford. He was one of my original narrative ball players.
Dude, he was a beautiful, his swing, the Prince of Princeton, man. Oh, and then who else? Who else am I thinking of? In the Canley before he got hurt. I know he doesn't count in that same group, but I miss Canley. I loved Tommy Canley. That was my guy. Tommy Tight Pants.
I loved Tommy Canley. Dude, he had a Discord server, and because he's a big time Twitch streamer, and I was in his Discord server, and he had like a little Ask Tommy thing where he would answer questions from.
I love this guy.
And it didn't matter what team the people were fans of. He just kind of answered questions, and also not to mention Tommy Canley had like one of the nastiest change-ups in baseball, but like that certainly helped. But oh my God, he was so cool.
You know who I would like to see?
Who?
Tommy Pham has been really disappointing in San Diego. Like, really disappointing.
Tommy Pham?
He was really disappointing in San Diego. He's hitting free agencies, 33 now. Still has good speed. Not a good defender in the outfield, so I don't want him, starting out there necessarily. But if he's not taking a lot of money, I mean, if the dude wants a 1-year deal and that's your fourth outfielder, and you're kind of like, this is where I'm at, where it's like, Hicks is weird to project for me, because I know Hicks is a good player if he's healthy, but that's such a big caveat with the guy. Like, if you have 4 starting outfielders on your team, I'm good with Hicks being one of the 4. But that one of the guys you have to bring in has to be able to play from center field. You know what I mean? And Pham can kind of play all over. And he actually hits a lot of fly balls the other way. And if you look at his, I don't know if I've ever showed you this, but I had this chart. Yeah, the spray chart with him. Right field and him, it's beautiful. It really is. And he's a guy who gets on base a lot. He has a problem where he doesn't lift the ball as much, but that's something I think launch angle is one of those things where you can, that's a lot more, that has a lot more to do with your organization, not as much to do with your talent level. If you bring him in and he puts up like a 110 WRC plus, and he's your fourth outfielder, you're kind of Hicks doesn't fit. Let's say, you got a tough, you have like a tough lefty, you don't want Gallo in there maybe, even though Gallo's a good player. And I actually think he hits lefties pretty well, but let's just throwing out hypothetical. You have an unfavorable matchup and you have a guy like Tommy Pham off the bench. That's pretty good. Yeah. Or Hicks gets hurt, or Judge goes down, or Gallo goes down, it doesn't matter how durable anyone is. Things like
they want to give Stanton and Judge the day off, or one of the other the day off, because they because they like to do that. And Tommy Pham, I think he could fill that spot pretty well. I don't know if it's going to happen, but hypothetically speaking, I'd like Tommy Pham.
Or even a Jonathan, I feel like VR might be even a better fit because he can play the infield.
VR. I've always liked VR as a player. I don't know. He's always had upside that has intrigued me, and he's a guy I'd like on the Yankees as a utility man.
He's a good base stealer. You know, he can probably swipe 15 bags a year, probably put up around league average
and
offense.
That's a guy that the Yankees need.
And he's a switch hitter.
Straight up, the Yankees need speed.
Yeah, they need to get faster, definitely. And you know, I know that Correa is like, you know, is Correa fast? Like, I get it. You know, Correa is not going to bring in speed, but that's why you have other positions to upgrade. You know what I mean? I think if you have a strong bench, you know, you kind of make your bench some. I'm not talking specialty guys who can't provide anything else outside of their speed or their defense. I want guys who can do different things off the bench. You know, provide value that we actually need. You know, I hated going to our bench last year. I felt like whenever we had to go to our bench, we had nothing to go to. You know what I mean? What do we?
Yeah,
what do we have to go
our best player off the bench.
Yeah, it was him, and he didn't hit righties well. He was a reverse switch guy. Yeah, Wade for sure.
Had Odor, Frazier. Frazier was another guy for a bit, and Duhar. Yeah, Gardy. Well, no, Gardy was a starter. Yeah, but Gardy. So the thing with Gardner, I like the inevitable 1 year, $10 million contract for Brett Gardner.
It won't be $10 million. It's going to be less than last year. So like $4 million.
Like 1 year, one year, the inevitable 1 year contract for Brett Gardner to come back and be the fourth outfielder, and then Aaron Hicks getting hurt, and then him starting 130 games.
But you know what? I don't hate Gardner. Like
I don't hate Gardner. I can't bring myself to hate him.
I can't. He's a good guy.
Is he he's a good dude. He's been here forever. And you know, he provides okay defense. He's fast. And he has stretches of time where, you know, he hits well.
He's the man sometimes. The bald man.
Dude, Brett hot Brett Gardner it's fun. When he goes on a hot stretch, it's like, oh yeah, Gardy.
Yeah, the Gardy party. It's always fun. Like when Gardner's good, like I don't care.
When Gardner's good, the team is good. Like straight up.
The vibes are good too.
Like, the vibes are good because the Yankees are winning, and
do you remember?
It's just so fun.
I know that we ended up losing that game. Remember when he hit that game-tying home run against Toronto? Like, I know we lost that game.
Yeah,
that was some good vibes, man. Like, when he hit that, I was like, yes.
Gardy.
Yeah, let's go.
Gardy.
It was electric. It was explosive, you know? That's like, you know what? I will say this. Granted, the Yankees would, like, I know the Yankees are going to bring him back. We know he is. I don't think he's, like, I really think the juice ball stuff really killed him. Like the lack of juice balls, and then pitchers still having sticky stuff. I'm pretty sure it was like really good post tack ban. I think he could post like a 95 WRC plus next year with good speed and defense. And you would be okay with that as your fourth outfielder. Like I'd be cool having, as long as he's not the first fourth outfielder off the bench. Like I would rather have, like I would, if I have Gardner, I want to have VR there so that I can start VR more than Gardner. So if something does go wrong, I have VR out there starting and Gardner's still the guy off the bench. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you have, let's say, Higgy, utility. I guess VR kind of fills in the UTL infielder part. And then you have your catcher. I said Higgy already. You have Gardy. And then you kind of make that fourth spot, you know, up for, like, this is the fun one where it's like, you know, you can kind of put in whatever. You're not going to throw in another catcher. You know, maybe not someone who can just, you know, you're not going to have, like, Chris Giddens because he's gone. I don't know if you saw he got released. So now it's kind of the fun one. Released. Like, do you want to bring up Florial? Do you want to have Oswaldo Cabrera?
I liked Florial. I'll tell you this about Esteban Florial. He provided stuff that the Yankees didn't have. He provides speed. Again, we talk about speed, you know, the need for speed. The Yankees need speed. And Florial has speed. He has all right defense, and
it's better than all right. He's really good defensively. He's in center field. He's beautiful defensively.
Yeah. And he's all right with a stick. You know, he can hit sometimes.
He's got good power.
Like him off the bench, surprising amount of power. Wasn't expecting Florial to come up with that much power. But I feel
in
like
the minor leagues he crushed it too. It wasn't like
everybody in Scranton crushed it, but I feel like Florial coming in off the bench, speed, defense, potentially a pinch hit situation, you know, to come in, run the bases, steal a bag. Florial could be pretty good in that situation.
You know, it'd be pretty fun, and I'm gonna keep this in here because I want this to like I need to remember when I'm quickly editing this so that I can do this. We should make like I'll try to make a graphic where we make the Cameron Woolley Ryan Garcia bench. This is a pretty good bench we're talking up right now. Like we're talking up a generational bench. I'm getting getting chills right now. I'm feeling it already. I can already imagine the Esteban Florial stolen base of stealing second in the ALCS Game 6 against Houston at New York. The crowd's going nuts. He just stole second. Bottom of the 8th, Yankees down 1, and then in steps pinch hitting situation for Brett Gardner for some reason. God knows why. Season's on the line. Brett Gardner's at the dish. All right. Ryan Presley, the big time Houston reliever. He's on the bump.
Cigarette in his mouth. He's just like
he's sweating. He sees Gardner. He knows it's a 6-pitch at bat minimum. He looks at Florial. Florial's dancing around, making him nervous. He throws a curveball. It's hanging. Gardner, it looks like it's just a fly ball, but right field is super short. It's going back. Crowd goes nuts. Gardner pumps his fist. The helmet is too big for him, because he has a big. It's because he's got a big ass head, but he's like really small.
Throws the helmet on the ground as he's rounding first.
Yep. And you know what? And
turns to Jose Altuve, throws him on the ground, drops a people's elbow on him, like rounds third, spits in Alex Bregman's face, and then touches home plate, doing like the scene from Gladiator where he's like, "Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?"
No, but he's got to do it because you see, they're not going to hear him from down there. So Judge picks him up, puts him over his head, and while he's screaming that, Jonathan VR's going nuts on the bench. Oh man. Higashioka's going nuts, but like, let's say, I don't know, Sanchez is like, oh shit, are they gonna bring in a defensive replacement? Fuck. Some chaos going on. Good. That was just some pretty good vibes. I'd be down for that. That'd be weird. I don't know why Gardner would
I'd be down for that. That would be okay. The only things that could top that would be either Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo, or Gary Sanchez winning ALCS MVP.
I gotta say that would be great, but what's the most satisfying?
Get the most shit.
Yeah, but what's the most satisfying thing? Like when Stanton just gets a hold of one in a big game, because it feels like he always does, and it's gone, and just think the mics are always better in these big games, so you just hear the smash of the baseball, and you're like, "Yep, oh yeah, then he just got that one." Yeah, when he hit that one,
I thought that was the kid. When he hit that one off of Eovaldi in the Walker game, I thought it was going to smash the stick. And
go ahead.
Like, I thought it would go all the way down to Boston College and it would smash one of their windows. Like some poor kid's dorm room. He's going to be sweating his balls off studying for a test that he had 2 weeks to study for, but he blew it off until the night before. And this baseball comes in smoking. Like, I thought that was where that ball was headed, but it just went off the top of the monster.
When Stan hit that ball,
off so much.
When he hit that ball, I thought we were gonna cut. We were tuned in for a prime Stanton legacy game with a dude. And you know what? He did have a legacy game. If it wasn't for the fact that
the legacy game, that was that.
Well, go ahead. Struck my baseball.
If that game was at Yankee Stadium, he hits 3 home runs, and that game's at Yankee Stadium, he hits 3 home runs, and we're talking about Giancarlo Stanton. Because Giancarlo Stanton, if you look at WRC Plus, he's the best postseason hitter on this team.
Dude, he is just
straight up. He is. Yeah. He's clutch. You want to talk about clutch? He knows clutch.
He's the guy. He is the man. Like when you close your eyes and think of the man, I think of Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah,
that's what I think of.
Yeah, Giancarlo.
Do you know how beautiful it would be to see like Joe Buck in the ALCS calling like when he called that in the Field of Dreams game, that it goes back at the wall. It's beautiful.
Dude, Joe Buck. Okay, let me just say one thing about Joe Buck. He is a mad underrated baseball commentator.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna say straight up, like, because you can't imagine big playoff baseball without Joe Buck.
I would say same for football too.
Yeah.
not as much because the Super Bowl
Big
isn't
football,
with Fox.
Al Michaels and Jim Nantz. That they have Joe Buck beat by a mile. Although, if you ask me, best NFL and Fox commentator is Kevin Burkhardt, and I'll go to my grave saying that. You should
Go
call
ahead.
a Super Bowl. Like Kevin Burkhardt should get an opportunity to call a Super Bowl at some point because he's talented.
I think Buck is kind of also that perfect balance between you have I forgot his name. He calls a lot of college football. Now he does some games for
Gus
Fox.
Johnson. Gus Johnson is awesome. I love Gus Johnson.
I love him too, but I feel like you can't really have that in a Super Bowl game. If you get what I'm saying, that's you need a guy who's going to be reserved but excited at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need because it's a Super Bowl. You want it to. You don't want the commentator to take away. Yeah, you don't want the commentator to take away from what's going on the field, right? You want him to elevate that. And I think that sometimes Vasgersian gets a little too caught up in trying to be too loud instead of let it happen, man.
Vasgersian, ESPN Matt Vasgersian is tragic.
He's a cooked product. It's very sad to see.
And it's only on ESPN. He goes on MLB Network and he does games for the Angels, which I am so jealous that they have Matt Vasgersian homering for them. I mean, we got Michael Kay, and we've grown up with him and John Sterling for years, so I'm just gonna shut up. But it's got to be nice having an enthusiastic guy like Vasgersian calling games for your team. And I remember, and I don't know why they don't give Bob Costas as much games. They need to give him way more games. Dude, Bob Costas, you could argue, is the greatest play-by-play man in the history of American sports.
When he called Game 1 of the ALDS in 2019. Oh man,
that was so not. Well, that was just a fun game.
That was a very well called game.
Well, it was also just a fun game for us because in the beginning when Polanco hit that home run off Paxton, we're like, oh shit,
dude.
But then we remembered, oh yeah, these are the Twins, and then we just smacked them.
It felt like 2017. That was game one in 2019, and the 2017 wildcard game are the same exact game.
Yeah,
we go down and then we just beat the ever loving shit out of Minnesota.
Okay, well the 2017 wildcard game was different because we thought that we were out of it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. That's
after
a one
the
game
top
playoff.
of the first inning, and we were thinking it's like, oh, Fangul, here we go, and then Didi hits the home run to tie the game. I think that is the loudest that new Yankee Stadium is ever going to get. Straight up, I think that is I don't know, ever going to get. Again, there still has to be a big moment. I think, now, here's my dream scenario. Picture this. Game 1 of the World Series. Now, say this is 2027, and the Yankees are playing in their first World Series in the Judge era. Judge is still on the team. And it's game 1. He's batting in the 2-hole. Leadoff man gets on, whether that be, we don't know who that is, but the leadoff man gets on. Aaron Judge comes up to the plate. It's at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees have home field. Crowd starts roaring because this is Aaron Judge's first ever World Series at bat. And then he just hits one past the bleachers. It would be, the Don Madden career postseason home run.
Yes, the Gary Thorne call for that is
Gary Thorne.
That is one of the greatest calls I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I have third-party reference to what it was like to be at the stadium for that game because my dad's friend was at that game.
Oh, I was gonna say my dad was at that game, and he told me the stadium was going to fall. He thought he was actually concerned that he was going to fall.
Yeah, he thought the stadium was going to fall. Exactly. My dad was also at Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS, which we look at now as a curse instead of something good to look at.
I would have cried if I was at that game, honestly.
Oh my God.
When Didi hit that home run, I actually cried.
I was at that game, and it was so funny because it was when my mom was pregnant with me, and I think it was her first ultrasound. And I think she called that Aaron Boone was gonna do something in that game. She said it was gonna end in a crazy way. It's gonna be Aaron Boone hitting a home run in the 10th, and sure enough, Aaron Boone hit a home run in the 10th of that game. But if it weren't for that, we'd have a good manager. So.
My existence is a curse, sadly. I was born in October of 2004, so.
Oh, my God. I was born in March of 2004.
Yeah, I really ruined everything. Like if I was like, I'm still like maybe
yeah.
it's like we just
04. Every single 04 kid that's a Yankee fan feels like it's their fault.
Imagine being born like the day, like because remember, was it Game 4 that went into midnight, or whichever game that went into midnight. Imagine being born as that game was being. Imagine being born as Dave Roberts stole second base, and you're a Yankees fan.
God.
Holy shit! Like I would actually, I would not be. There's some kid out there that definitely is a Yankees fan and was born either close to when that happened or as that happened, and is growing up with this guilt. And they're like, secretly their father will never tell them this, but they're like, this was the changing point. Like a superstitious dad, where it's like,
dad there watching the game. He's, like, I bet it's thinking, oh my God, it's going to be the best night of my life. My kid's getting born, and I'm watching the Yankees sweep the Red Sox.
Yeah, and it's like, no. Imagine, dude, I do not want to have a kid around October. I do not want to have a possibility of my kid being born and the Yankees ruining it. Like I would hate. Like I can't deal with that.
Yeah,
I cannot deal.
Yeah,
with that.
I would hate that. No. The thing is, you make the baby in October.
Guarantees they won't be born in October. You're a genius. You're a genius.
Guarantee, yes. Big brain, galaxy brain.
I did not.
Although as a hockey fan, the kid being born in the middle of playoff hockey, that would be a heart attack. No, because we think playoff baseball is bad, and playoff baseball, yeah, that is very.
Playoff hockey's worse.
System, but playoff hockey is infinitely worse.
I remember, dude, watching the Islanders playoff run, because the way they would play, like they were not like an explosive offense, so they weren't like they weren't like going off. They had some games where they beat the crap out of teams, but there were a lot of games that were like, they won a game in overtime, lost a game in overtime. There were some games where they won it by like one score, or lost it by one score. Like you're sitting there and someone's breaking away at any second, especially power. Oh my God. When you're on the power kill, that's the most stressful shit with a one.
Oh my God, dude. Especially when and in the playoffs, you're all going up to good teams who had like top 10 power plays in the league. Like, and you guys got knocked out by Tampa. So you had to deal with Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, those guys cycling around. And any of those guys can rip a shot and it ends up in the back of your net. Any moment that could happen. And I remember, like, the Devils, they haven't made the playoffs a lot in my lifetime. The last time they made it was 2018, and they got their asses kicked in 5 games. But the 5 games where the Devils were in the playoffs, it was just constant energy. And thing is, baseball, there's downtime. In hockey, there is no downtime.
Yeah, and there's times where at least, we're on offense. We're up 3 runs. Nothing bad can happen here.
Yeah. Like, that's the funny thing with playoff baseball. You're watching, and when you're up by a couple of runs, when you're pitching, then it's like,
yeah, you just got to be upset when you're pitching.
You're getting dehydrated, and then when your hitters come up, it's like, okay, nothing bad can happen.
Right, you can't lose anything.
You can't blow it.
But it's not even like that.
The worst is when it's like a 1-2-3 inning. The worst is when it's a 1-2-3.
Yeah, it's quick too. You want as much time. And you know what? Even hockey, you go, we're on the power play. Don't worry. That doesn't mean no. Because in the back of your head, you know exactly what you're thinking of. The embarrassment of you getting scored on while you're on the power play.
Yeah, like giving up a shorthanded goal in the playoffs in a big moment. That would be awful. Like, I would hate that.
This is quickly becoming the fireside hockey, but
fireside hockey. I can talk puck for hours. I love hockey, but back to Yankees talk. We didn't really bring up Matt Olson that much. We were talking about his stuff, and this is a superstition that I have about this Yankee offseason. Did you notice that rumors were coming in and the Yankees seems like they were really involved in the market, and then that fat soybean ingesting bastard Scoops RBW opened his
I
mouth.
thought you were gonna say something like Heyman. I was like, oh, okay, you're just slandering John Heyman. Okay.
Like that fat bastard, the Scoops RBW. And dude, he has to be blocked on Twitter. He's had me blocked for months. But and I made a burner just to look at his tweets. That is how much of his account is a can't miss. And the moment he opened his mouth about the Matt Olson trade. And I remember that was, you gotta admit, that was one of the best moments in the history of Yankees Twitter. That was goated.
That is actually great. That was insane content. Great content.
And I was sitting on pins and needles the entire time. Everyone was sitting on pins and needles because he got the trade deadline right. And people thought for a split second that a Gary on Twitter would be the one, was a trustworthy source to break a high-profile trade between a couple of high-profile teams.
I will say this. I definitely I was believing it because here's how I work, and I tweeted this. The sources I trust are the ones that say the things that I like. You think Carlos Correa's in the Yankees?
Yes.
You're not a reputable source. That's just how I work.
At least you admit it. At least you admit it.
It's just how I work, man. Dude, when Ben Verlander tweeted Justin Verlander is going to Houston, I was like, he's trolling. He's definitely. You know what? I like in the back. Denial was the first thing I go to. Dude, did you see my Hicks tweet or my Kiermaier tweet where I already have it in the drafts? If we don't get Kiermaier, that Hicks is better than Kiermaier.
Yeah. It's
already have it loaded up.
Aaron Hicks has a 2.5 B WAR per 650. Compared to Kiermaier's 1.7,
it's ride. Steamer War.
Yeah, Steamer War. That makes it more of a Ryan Garcia.
Or the Higashioka one. I wiped all my Baldy tweets and went, Higashioka and Jacob Stallings have the same projected WAR per 600, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, it was, dude, when you posted a video of Andrelton Simmons hitting a home run off Justin Verlander, I keeled over. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen because I've observed you over this offseason, and Yankees Twitter is always an interesting place to be during the offseason, especially in a market that is moving as quickly as this, where things are just falling off like crazy. And then you post a video, you went through the 5 stages of grief 15 times. You've gone through the 5 stages of grief 15 times per day in the last 2 weeks.
It's always funny too, because I'll say something like, hey guys, let's stay calm. Things are going to be okay. And then right after something happens, I'm like, you bald man. I think I tweeted, bro, I don't know if you've seen the tweet by JD. I don't know if you follow him at Ketel Marte.
Oh my God, that guy. I don't follow him because he's super annoying.
But he tweeted this.
Is it Heat Check for?
No, not Heat Check. It's not Heat Check. Okay. Don't worry. This is actually a good guy. JD, I really like him. He's a really cool guy. I don't think you've interacted with him as much. I know who this guy is. All right, I'll send you the tweet on Twitter. I'll send it to your DMs. This is great.
Oh my God! Yeah, I saw that. I got guys. The offseason isn't a race. If you get your guy in November or February, it doesn't change a thing. Shiny head, no hair, bald. I'm shocked he didn't pull out. Dude, if Brian Cashman had a mustache, I would pull the Dr. Robotnik card on him so quickly.
That's dude. That's like the Eggman. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, Dr. Eggman. That's all. I call him Robotnik because that's what his original name is. But
We stay classy out here. We call people by their original names.
Yes.
My PFP is a great PFP. If you're gonna, it's this picture of if you're gonna fight like you're the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark, and brother, it's starting to rain. And I got it with the little Yankees logo.
Yeah, got with the Yankees logo. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
stay determined.
That is, yeah. You got the Browns banner that I don't even know.
I want to get. I don't know what to replace it with. Like I don't know. I think it looks nice, but I want to replace it. I don't know what to replace it with.
My banner is just. My banner is me and Ming at the Cameron Woolley Show 100th episode special.
Oh right. Yeah, the 100. I was like, oh, 10. Oh, 100. I'm like, 10. Yeah. I was like, what's a 10 celebrating? 10, because you haven't been around for 10 years. Now you're 10 years old. I don't think he's 10 years old.
Yeah. Nah, it was 100 episodes of the Cameron Woolley Show. It was like this year. So
this channel has not been around for that long. I just picked it up in like September. Well, the channel's been around for longer than I had it for, but I started, I picked up this channel in like September. So you are the seasoned veteran here. I am simply just, I'm a rookie still, but we'll get there.
Yeah. You're doing a good job.
Have you seen the Sanchez tweet I tweeted? I tweeted right before that, gonna narrative ball so hard. I was like at lunch and I finished eating my sandwich. I was like,
oh my God,
I'm coping time. I was like, Gary Sanchez, I use words like volatile, variance, distribution curve, so I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Because I want to be a stats miner, so I'm gonna be like, Gary Sanchez's distribution curve is pretty wide, so that leaves room for really great results for the Yankees, alongside those very terrible results you see in 18 and 20. But that means that while his floor is lower than Higashioka's, his ceiling is higher. And by playing him first, the Yankees are guaranteeing that they're going to have enough time to let that sample size play out and have the higher floor guy as the backup ready to play the remaining 4 months of the season if Sanchez goes up in flames, right? Like that sounds like that's just me. Like that's, you see, that's very like that's genius stuff.
Yeah, you sound smart.
But I'm not smart. That's the thing. I'm just hoping. I would not be saying if Jacob Stalling was still available, I would never say something like this. And then someone posted Kyle Higashioka's 234 career on base percentage is the worst of any non-active pitcher with at least 400 career plate appearances. I said, stop jerking off. There's this guy who tweeted and said someone, and they used to make it a quote. Have you seen that Twitter account where the bot where it just turns into a
make
quote?
it a quote? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Carson during like Thanksgiving. Dude, the guy live tweeted his Thanksgiving. that was one of the funniest things ever.
Bro. He's so
he was talking about his family doing random stuff. I'm like, honestly, I'm surprised that more people on this app weren't like pathetic enough to tweet about their Thanksgiving.
That was hilarious.
Dinners.
But this guy tweeted, I think it was because he posted like Justin Fields' stat line against the Steelers because it wasn't that impressive at that point. But they're like, oh, he's playing pretty well. He's just, Bears situation isn't great. And so the guy tweets at the guy, he's like, stop jerking off to analytics and use your eyes for once, you fat loser. So someone made it a quote. I used it when someone tweeted at me about Higashioka's on base percentage. I used the picture. I love it so much. It's perfect. You can use it for anything. Someone could tweet at me like, oh, well, Ryan, I mean, I know that you like, I don't know. I know that you think Andrew Velasquez is next Derek Jeter, right? But stop posting. Like, watch the games, man. All right, let's watch
the games.
Let's review some tape. Let's roll the tape.
Right? There are, and granted, there is a serious note. There is still value in the eye test for baseball. I don't think that you're like, because if evaluating baseball players was as easy as just looking at a Fangraphs page for 10 hours a day, then every single pokehead on MLB Twitter would have a 6-figure salary working at a front office. It's like you still gotta use your eyes. You still gotta be able to interpret the things that can't be quantified in a player.
That's probably also that's defense. A lot of that is defense too. Like offense, I think you can do decently well, but defense for sure, dude. Defense is a nightmare, and also for pitching mechanics too. Like that's something where you want to pick up. you can't quantify like, oh, this guy made a pitching adjustment with said mechanics. Like you have to use in football, this is, I think this is well established in football.
Football is the eye test is king.
Yeah, you have to use film review.
Straight up, football is the eye test.
But I'm pretty like baseball. It doesn't really get talked about. Like the depth they have for the data they have for organizations. I'm dying to see what they have because it's so much better than what we have publicly available. And I'm really interested to see like how the Yankees value different guys because it's very clear. Like Lucas, they didn't use as much down the stretch, and they use Joely more. But a lot of publicly available stats will tell you Lucky's the better pitcher. I wonder what they saw, what they have, what data they have that told them that Joely was better. Because it definitely isn't a matter of they're looking at. Like they're like, oh man, you're right. Ryan Garcia just tweeted about Lucas Licky Sierra. Oh, dude, why didn't we think about that? Damn it! And then Cashman hits his bald head and it cracks, and he has to like Humpty Dumpty that shit.
Humpty Dumpty, that's a new one. Humpty Dumpty.
But I'm pretty sure he wasn't like, oh, no, I didn't look at his Sierra and XFIP on Fangraphs. No. What did I do?
Damn it.
Like, Cash was just sitting back panicking, looks on Twitter on his burn. He's like, I fucking forgot. Oh, no. What did I do?
No. At Cam Woolley Show tweeted about his XFIP. Fuck.
He's like, oh, shit. No. What did we just do? He's just like panicking. He's having a massive panic attack.
No. We contradicted.
He calls Boone down in a panic. And you remember that when Joely came in against Boston, he imploded?
Yes.
And we ended up winning that game, so it's whatever. But like Boone is getting a frantic call from Cashman. Boone, what's up? Brian, what are you calling me for? I mean, we're playing the game right now. Aaron, take Joely out right now. I just found out his XFIP. Dude, do it now. Hurry up. Like this definitely they have much better data. We just can't, we don't know what it is. And I'm very curious. Yeah. I would love to know what it is.
Especially I would love to know what that data is. Like, oh my God. Like
I would love to talk to Matt Blake too. Like just talk to him about pitching. Oh man. The dude can teach me.
Matt Blake, he is one of the most valuable pieces of this team.
Yeah, if Eric Cressy next year, like let's say we got like a full season, we did this year basically. But if we got 130 games plus of Stanton and Judge, Eric Cressy should have a month. Like he should have it doesn't matter what the result is of the team. There should be a statue of Eric Cressy built outside of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with Judge and Stanton. Last year, they started doing yoga in the offseason. And like I said for years, Judge and Stanton need to pick up yoga. And they did. And they didn't get hurt.
Okay, well, that's actually one of the things where I'm pretty sure like the Yankee organization was like, all right, Yankee Twitter, maybe they're onto something here. Like I would like to believe. I would like to believe that every time that my dad and I would talk about the Yankees, Brian Cashman had a wire on one of us and was like, oh shit, yoga, write that down.
Write that down. Write that down. Call someone up.
Yo. He's like in a lab, like a laboratory, like a secret evil lair. He's got like the wiretap going. You see like the sound moving. Fuck this tank. Do it. All right, here we go. I have a Harry Potter book. That's not helping me.
What do you have? Do you just have like a copy of Harry Potter?
No, that's not even Harry Potter. It's Percy Jackson. I can't see anything. I have my glasses. So I picked it up. I saw the back of the book, and I'm like, oh, it's Harry Potter. Like, no, it's not. So like he's got his pen and paper. He's like, yoga, bat to balls, fundamentals. All right. Next meeting, read this stuff. All right.
Wait, don't forget steamer.
Dude, I know for a fact. Like one day, like dude, I could actually. This actually happened in English class today. So we were talking about different type of arguments, right? And one of the arguments that was used was hasty generalization, which is when smoking is bad, yeah, but my aunt smoked and she lived until she was 90. She smoked a pack a day. She lived until she was 90. So smoking cigarettes can't be that bad, right? And I was like, Miss Teacher, yeah. So basically the concept you're explaining is variance, right? Statistical variance, right? So the median outcome is that you have a shortened lifespan. And I actually deal with it. And I was like, I actually deal with this with projections in baseball. Median outcome, everything else that happens is just variance. You don't look at variance, right? You look at what's supposed to happen and you carry that into what the player should be. And my teacher's just looking at me like, okay. Like, whatever, man. Like, sure, cool. I'm like, oh, these guys don't want to be a stats finder, by the way. I'm a complete loser. Like, I just the entire like anytime I can think of
it turns into a sabermetrics class.
Dude, like in macro, some kid was like, yeah, I do sports gambling. I was like, yo, if you want to like get into like for baseball, like you want to get heavy on projections, dude, like I got you. Like you want like fantasy players or something like that, or like you want like
that makes you liable.
Dude, I was like, yo, I got you, brother. I got you. Projections,
charge commission. Charge commission.
I wouldn't do that because like I would feel bad because like I don't know how good I've never played fantasy baseball much. The only times I was pretty terrible at it, so I would never do that.
My fantasy football team is like 3-8 or 3-9 because I started 3-1, but then my running backs got hurt.
Oh, that's a killer. That's a season ender.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley and Kareem Hunt. They were. Oof. Yeah.
Dude, that's rough.
Yeah, that's rough, dude. So like, and although I don't really join fantasy anymore for like competitiveness, I join it for the draft night,
right?
Which like all took place on Discord, and we were just sitting there the whole time, and we were just talking shit to each other. We were intentionally drafting players that other people wanted to take just to piss them off.
Also, Gary Sanchez has been officially tendered a contract.
Oh, ooh. Well, we
dropping the narrative ball so hard.
Big happened. Oh, baby.
I dropped it. The narrative ball so hard. Breaking news from the Fireside
Yankees did he have some
Cameron Woolley show episode? Gary Sanchez has been tendered a contract.
Oh, our sources.
I just want to say, I will stand here sit here, I'm not standing, on November 30th, 2021 and say Kyle Higashioka will be a top 10 catcher next year on a per rate basis. I can't guarantee on a volume basis. We don't know how long Sanchez will be starting, but it will happen. All right. It's going to be funny when he plays like 2 games and his prorated WAR over like 2 games would be top 10. And I'm still right. I'm ready for that. For like the 30-game sample size of Higashioka being a top 10 catcher. I can still be right because I said per rate. Didn't say anything about volume. All right.
Yes.
But I'm saying it now. He's gonna be the man. Hopefully Sanchez is a man because that would make our problems a lot better,
Yes.
But
yes, I would love to have that problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
I'd have a lot of fun having that problem.
But yeah, no, I mean, we covered a lot today. Jesus.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This became a hockey episode, a gambling episode, a Ryan has social deficiencies episode. You explaining how your mother basically is a wizard and guessed that Aaron Boone would hit a walk-off home run. We talked a lot about shortstops early on, but that's just because the market is kind of dried up to there's 2 guys, and we want one of those 2 guys. Preferably Correa.
We want one of those 2 guys. Do Carlos Correa in the Bronx. That is the dream scenario. That's the dream.
Yeah,
for the
basically
shortstop position.
It's a matter of, can we please get a shortstop? We know we're not going to do anything before the lockout major. So I'm just going to say this for the Yankees. Just make sure that no one else does anything that you would probably want to do. That's all. As long as they don't do something that you would do, we're good. We're good. It's like, if friggin' Yusei Kikuchi goes off the board to the Mets, we're like, Yusei Kikuchi went to the Mets. What are we doing? Oh my God. But it's okay. Cool. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, man. Good stuff. Oh, I will say this, though. Brett Gardner signs before the CBA and it's with another team. Like, I won't be upset, but I'll be sad. Like, that would hurt. Especially after we had a good vibes Guardy. We had a really good vibes Guardy podcast here. And it's like, shit, man. That would hurt.
Yeah. It would kind of suck.
I've always imagined him a Philly. Like, ever since 2017, I always thought he would be a Philly at some point in his career. I hope it never happens. It's a nightmare. I don't want it to happen. I don't want a New York sports icon to go to fucking Philly and play with those guys. Oh, see, the city of Philadelphia does not deserve the grit and class of a guy like Gary Sanchez. Not Gary Sanchez. Brett Gardner. They don't deserve it. But no, this is a lot. We just recorded for like an hour and a half. So I think this is a good point to cut off. If you guys like if you guys like what I do, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me at Ryan Garcia SM. Cameron, would you like to plug in?
Yes, I would love to plug. Yes, but you can see my stuff in the description, my YouTube channel, my blog, my Twitter account. Like I too am quite the character on Twitter. At Cam Wooley Show. My YouTube channel is The Cameron Wooley Show. I record and upload podcasts every week. I also have a TikTok account, also at Cam Wooley Show, where I upload clips from the podcast if that's more your speed. And also my blog, where I occasionally write articles and stuff whenever that crosses my mind. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to plug in terms of content. No, covered a lot today. Great time being on the show. It was really fun.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with this too.
I always kind of been a fan of yours. No, it was I always
likewise, mi amigo. Likewise. Come on.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I guess I'll let you send us off.
All right. I don't have an outro. I just usually say, all right, guys, we'll see you guys in the next video. Ryan out. That's a great outro right there. It's a great outro.